Hey there, everybody, and thanks for joining us on this episode of the Arrow After Show. My name is John Campia. I am your host tonight here with my co-host, of course, sitting to my right is Anne. Anne, how are you doing?
Hi, my fellow archers. I'm here representing Team Amazing, both halves, since we don't have Kaori.
Yeah, Kaori is not with us tonight. She is off, where is she, visiting family?
Yeah.
She's off visiting family
As
this
she
week.
should.
But she did text you earlier tonight. She regrets that she couldn't be here this evening.
Most definitely. But she's here in spirit.
She is here in spirit, and we will bravely soldier on and do the show without her tonight. So tonight's episode, season 2, episode 16, Suicide Squad. This is one we have been waiting for ever since those first promotional images came out a while ago showing us the Suicide Squad. And I gotta tell you, I loved the episode. I loved it. I have a deep, abiding, passionate love for this episode. I really liked it that much. I thought it was just incredible. So, Anne, let's start with you. Let's talk about, first of all, before we get into specific positive and negatives, talk about your overall kind of impressions of the show tonight.
Overall impressions are that I also enjoyed the episode. I think it was a good break from the tension we had in last week's episode with The Promise, which was a completely different episode in itself. And then to bring us to this episode where it's really Diggle-centric, I like that. We were all yearning for that, this episode. And I think they handled, as they always do, a plethora of characters so well. There's tons of characters in this episode, but you wouldn't know that there were so many because they stuck to the storyline. So I like that.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, like I said this already, I will say it again. This episode, my overall impressions, just freaking fantastic. I loved the episode. I don't know that I'm going to say that it's my favorite episode of the season so far, because there have been a number of really, really great episodes. Now, a number of people in the chat board are already wanting us to bring up the Harley Quinn thing. So, all right, before we get to our positives and negatives about this week's this week's episode, we might as well talk about the Harley Quinn thing. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say this. That wasn't Harley Quinn. I'm going to say it wasn't Harley Quinn. Now, one of the interesting things... Now, were they purposefully giving us a Harley Quinn Easter egg? Absolutely. That was meant for us to think of Harley Quinn. Absolutely. Totally that's what they were doing. They totally put and they even got Tara Strong to do the voice of that girl in the prison. And for those of you who may not know, Tara Strong just so happens to do the voice of Harley Quinn in some of the animated stuff.
Yes.
So obviously that is meant for us to think of Harley Quinn and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think that they're ever going to say that's actually, they're not going to come out and say that's Harley Quinn. They're never going to put a name to it. I don't think we're probably going to see that character again. Like I said, I think it was just an Easter egg, but could be wrong. Could be wrong. I have a feeling we're never going to see that character again. I think especially when she goes, I'm a trained therapist. I mean,
and how much, without saying, hey, I'm Harley Quinn, that was making it so obvious.
Yeah, there's nothing else they could have done. I mean, the only thing they could have stopped at is to her, put the camera right in her face, like this kind of a frame. I am Harley Quinn. That's the only thing they could have done that would have been like less or even more obvious than what they already did.
And then the 3-minute trailer, which got everybody talking even before we even saw this episode, they showed the back of a woman's head that had pigtails, and that got everybody riled up too. So there's enough there to put it together that.
And that's what they wanted us to do. They want us to say, but I still believe. And once again, could be wrong, not willing to die for this belief. I still believe that it is just meant as a fun little product placement. Mm-hmm. I think it is just meant as a fun little Easter egg. And I don't think you're ever going to hear them say the name Harley Quinn. I don't believe she's ever getting out of that Argus prison, and I don't believe we're ever going to see her again. Now, somewhere right now, Stephen Amell is watching this, and he's laughing at me because maybe he knows differently.
He might. I don't know. He may.
He might have some inside information.
He doesn't know everything about the show.
No, clearly, Amell doesn't know as much. Like, despite what he thinks, Amell doesn't know as much about Arrow as I do. Obviously, right? No, but somewhere he's probably laughing at me when I say, but I don't think we're ever going to see that character again. And some people are saying, yelling at me in the chat board, that was totally Harley. Look, obviously it was meant for us to think of Harley Quinn. They put a Harley Quinn character in there. All I'm saying is I don't believe on Arrow you're ever going to hear the name Harley Quinn. I just don't think that's going to happen. And you might think that it will happen, and that's great if it does. I'm just saying, if I had to put money on it, which I'm not, my guess would be that is not definite. That is not literally Harley Quinn. They're never going to use the name Harley Quinn, and I don't think we're ever going to see her again. But if they do, and look, I said this on the last show, if they do say that is Harley Quinn, and the show says that, so it puts the name tag on her, Harley Quinn, and they get her out of that prison. While I've never believed that DC has any intention of crossing their cinematic universe and their television universe, I don't believe they're ever intending on crossing those. So I don't think we're ever going to see Stephen Amell in a Justice League movie as Green Arrow. I don't think we're going to see this new TV Flash in the Justice League movie as Flash. I don't think they're planning on crossing those at all. But with that being said, it's the possibility still exists, right? But what I said last time was, if that mysterious woman in the cell is actually Harley Quinn, and they put the name on her and they use her in the show, I believe that puts the nail in the coffin that they will never cross, that they are totally, absolutely, 100% going to keep the movie universe and the television universe completely separate. If they use this girl that's in the Argus prison and say she's Harley Quinn, then I believe that finishes the discussion that we will never see the movie and the TV universes cross over. Because the movie universe is not going to... It just kind of puts the nail in that coffin. And I don't know that DC or CW, Warner Brothers, are at the point where they're ready to... even though I don't think they have any intentions of crossing them over, I don't think they're in a position right now where they want to put the nail in the coffin yet. So that's why I don't think we're going to actually see her as Harley Quinn. What do you think?
I don't think so either. I'm with you there. I think they did enough. And I'm reading in the chat that people actually saw maybe some interviews with the writer saying that it was an Easter egg that it was intended to be. So the fact that people are paying this much attention to it, though, maybe it'll make them think otherwise. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I think they're getting the exact reaction out of us, the audience, that they wanted.
Yeah.
Don't call her Harley Quinn, so we're not committing to that, and we're not taking up the character, but put a girl with the pigtails and give her Harley Quinn's voice and have her say, I'm a trained therapist, which was such a great touch. When having her say, I'm a trained therapist, that was a great touch to put on there. And they were able to do that and get us all excited and laugh about it and be happy about it without ever saying Harley Quinn or committing to it.
So wrong.
It's so
wrong.
But it was so well done. But they did it so well.
Yes, it was well done.
Because look at us. We're how far? We're 10 minutes into the show.
That was 2 seconds or maybe even 1 second in the whole episode.
3 seconds of the episode that had nothing to do with the episode, and all any of us want to talk about is that pseudo Harley Quinn cameo.
Harley Quinn's even trending on Twitter. That's how much people are talking about it.
Well done. Seriously, well done, CW. That was really well played. So anyway,
Arrow.
A lot of people, I just want to point out too, a lot of people, just to make the point, a lot of people in the chat board are still insisting that I'm wrong. I don't know what you think I'm wrong about. Like seriously, guys, in the chat board, do you actually think that sometime in the next 8-10 episodes, they're going to open that prison door again and out will walk Harley Quinn, and they're going to call her Harley Quinn. Do you think that's actually going to happen?
I
don't.
Somebody retweeted Stephen Amell, who tweeted, "Everybody needs to relax. She's just a trained therapist."
Yeah, and I was actually mad at Amell for doing that because Amell tweeted that out after the East Coast broadcast of the show, and it hadn't shown on the West Coast yet.
He?
And so as soon as I read that tweet, because I read Amell's tweet before I saw the show, because I live in Los Angeles, and it's like, well, clearly they got a Harley Quinn thing happening in this, so I knew what to watch for. But yeah, once again, just throw it in there like that. Joey Stats in the chat board is saying, why do they tease us like that? Here's the thing. I don't think they're teasing us. I think that was a gift. I think having these, without committing to a crossover, they give us this cool character in Harley Quinn without ever having to say Harley Quinn, and it makes me happy. It put a smile on my face, and I think I'm willing to bet it put a smile on your guys' faces too. I think it made all of us happy. So once again, bravo, CW. Well done. I think that was just terrific. So, shall we actually now talk about the episode? Let's actually talk about the episode. And by the way, guys, I want to let you know that I don't have a lower third for it right now, but if you've got a question, you know what? Let's just do it this way. If you've got a question you'd like to us to talk about on the show a little bit later tonight, see Anne's Twitter right there, @AnneCampia. Tweet Anne Campia. So tweet your question to Anne, since she's the one pulling up questions and stuff like that. So if once again, start tweeting in questions or comments you'd like to make on the show over to Anne Campia, and we will get to those in just a little bit. First of all, we're going to talk about the episode, not just Harley Quinn. It's still so weird. The 3-second shot is all any of us want to talk about, including me. And we're going to talk about the episode first, and then we're going to get to your questions and your comments via Twitter. Once again, hop on Twitter and send your questions. There she is right there, to Anne Campia. So, Anne, let's get to you on this right now. Let's talk about some of your positives about this week's episode.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I really like that it was the Diggle-centric episode that we've all been asking for since season 1.
We wanted a Diggle-centric episode.
Yes, we finally see a glimpse into his past. We see how he met Lila, his former wife and now girlfriend. I don't know what they are. He delivered what I think is one of my favorite lines in the
I already
show.
know it. Can I guess?
Yes.
Because we looked at each other when this line was spoken. She says, "We do more playing than talking." And he says, "Because when we talk, we end up getting divorced." And we looked at each other.
Maybe it's because we're married. I don't know. But that line was hilarious. But yes, I mean, and I don't think they lost steam in terms of the Oliver chasing after Slade in this episode. I don't think they lost the steam from the Promise episode we saw.
Oh, not at all.
But it was, for me, a nice break. Some people might not like that, but I like that they broke the tension that we had from the Promise and went into this episode. And a lot of people might agree that this episode was like a standalone Suicide Squad, welcome to the Suicide Squad, this is who we are kind of episode, where they could actually take this and run with this group. And I would love to see more of this group.
Although I will say this, and this is my only complaint, and it's a tiny thing, tiny thing, so just ignore it. My one complaint about the episode, because we've all been looking forward to the Suicide Squad so much. And they put out, remember those big promotional pictures of the Suicide Squad? It's got all of them standing there with Amanda in the middle and all of them standing around. Shrapnel lasted about 5 minutes. And then he was gone. Now granted, keep this in mind. We didn't see Shrapnel die.
No.
We didn't see, what's his name in Firefly again?
Simon Tam.
Simon. We didn't see Simon Tam die. He goes off camera, and then you see they go into Amanda Waller's command center there, and his blip is gone. We don't see him die. So I suppose that it is possible that Shrapnel is still alive. It's possible, because we didn't watch his head explode.
Right. And considering Shrapnel is supposed to be very intelligent in terms of technology, and I could see how he might get out of that kind of situation.
But and here's the other thing too. Both the other two guys, they knew they had the things in their head.
Yeah.
So you have to assume Shrapnel knows he has that thing in his head.
Oh, he's smart enough.
And he's just sitting in the car. It's like, oh, I'm going to make a break for it.
Yeah.
Really? So all that stuff leads me to think that we may see Shrapnel again. If they don't and he really is dead, then I'm a little bit disappointed because he was so badly used.
I know. Even in the episode where he was the villain, I thought was one of the weaker.
Yeah,
yes.
poorly used. But like I said, that was a minor little quibble. I'm going to tell you right now, other than that one minor little quibble, I got no complaints about this issue. I'm thinking comic books. I've gotten absolutely no complaints about this episode. I mean, my heavens, this was great. And you're right. It was a nice little break from the tension of the last episode. It got a lot into the character of Oliver a lot. We got to see Oliver exploring his limits, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we saw him actually hold a gun. I don't know that we've seen him hold a gun or actually point a gun at somebody for the first time.
I can't remember him doing it.
Yeah.
But also, what was really cool to me was that scene when he goes to what he thinks is Slade's office, right? And he finds the dead Russian mafia dude. And he comes back down into his bunker. And Sarah's there. And I think for the first time, what we saw Stephen Amell give us was a totally broken Oliver. Mm-hmm. He was broken. And there was this moment as he's sitting there talking to Sarah, and he says, I can't, that he just realizes, I can't beat this guy. He is 5 steps ahead of me. Mm-hmm. He's had years to plan for this. He is in every way my better right now. And you just saw that look of almost like a resignation in him, that he just feels so beaten and so defeated. And there was something really cool about seeing that side to Oliver Queen, Arrow, that I don't think they've shown us before in this show.
I don't think so.
And I love that scene. I really did. What's one of the highlights or a couple of the highlights for you for this episode?
Well, yeah, I also like that scene because it showed the strength of his relationship with Sarah as well. I don't think that he would have had that emotional situation with any other woman in his life but Sarah, because she understands, and she's the only female in this story that's more badass to say, hey, it's gonna take a lot to kill me, so you don't gotta worry.
Yeah.
So I did like that.
I just want to point out here that let's see, who is it that Richard Ortiz is pointing out in the chat board that Oliver held guns on the island. Which is true. Good point. Did they, outside of the island, I don't know that we've seen him hold a gun, but Island Ollie has held guns.
Okay.
I totally forgot about that.
Thank you.
So please continue.
Oh, all right. So back to the Suicide Squad. I liked Amanda Waller and her portrayal, or the actress's portrayal of the character. I thought she was really cold-blooded when it came down to it, when they were in the situation where Deadshot was in that room and the bombs were about to go off at that mansion. I thought that was really cold-blooded of her to keep him there. Shrapnel, like you said, didn't last long. What I wanted to mention is I really like the actor Michael Rowe that's portraying Deadshot.
Oh, yeah. He's been terrific.
He needs more work. I checked his IMDb. He only has like Arrow and maybe 2 other things, but I like him a lot in his portrayal of that character.
Yeah, me too.
Pretty crazy, pretty also cold-blooded. We'll get to the negatives, but and then you brought up the dead Russian mob guy,
right?
And to
in Slade's
me,
office.
I don't know if this is a highlight, but just a question that popped in my head: seeing him dead, are there any ramifications for him dying from the Bratva, from that group, from that mob?
Oh. That's an interesting thought.
I don't know if that's negative or positive, but that just crossed my mind, and I put that down too.
Do you have any negatives on the episode? Because I know, aside from that one little thing about Shrapnel, I got nothing.
Oh, and one more positive. Laurel wasn't that bad.
No. Oh, hey, you know what?
And no Roy.
Well, yeah, no Roy, yay. But I think I liked Laurel in this episode far more than I've liked her in any episode yet this season. For the first or maybe second time, I really felt like the writers in the show had a purpose for Laurel. And this episode, to me, it felt like Laurel had a place in the story and in the lives of these people. Because for most of this season, I felt that her character was just kind of drifting. And it's fine to have the character is drifting, but I thought her as a plot element, she was drifting. That she didn't fit in with this story. And now in this episode, I almost felt like they completely corrected it. Like I now liked it when Laurel showed up. You know, because all season when Laurel walks in a room, I'm like, but today, like during one of the last scenes of today's episode, she walks into the bar. And I felt, I'm glad she's back on screen because I kind of like that she's outside of that relationship with Ollie now. She's got a new, different type of relationship with Ollie that I'm sure they're going to probably explore at some point down the future again more. But and I liked it, and I liked the function she was serving. And so you're right. I didn't even really think about that, but I enjoyed Laurel. And, you know, if they can do that for Laurel, who I'd almost given up on that character, on ever liking the character, maybe they can do it for Roy, too. As hard as I am on the Roy character, I mean, seriously, this episode made me think maybe there's hope for Roy.
Yeah.
And that's an exciting feeling as a fan.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, you know, the Laurel, like you said, was a minor thing to the grand scheme of the episode, but I also enjoyed. And she put Oliver in his place. Just in the few, like 2 lines that she had in the whole episode, it was kind of funny to see her in that position and see her so confident again. And then for them to play on the fact that she had the drinking problem by giving her that non-alcoholic beverage and her saying it tastes nasty.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. So anything else we should bring up before we go to the questions?
Easter eggs. I know a lot of people are talking about what they saw, so I just noted what I saw.
Sure.
And then maybe people can tell me if I missed any or whatever. But they actually made mention of Ostrander, the Ostrander suite, and John Ostrander is the one that created Amanda Waller.
Right.
Also wrote comics of the Suicide Squad comics. Markovia, we've seen before.
Yeah.
Karak and Kondak, who I'm not pronouncing those places right, but they're both places in the DC universe where Diggle is fighting. And then I think people are saying there might have been mention of Adam Black. I'm not sure.
I didn't pick that one up myself, but it's possible. And you know, it's funny. Some other people in the chat board are now saying too, we don't think he's dead. We don't think Shrapnel's dead. Yeah, I gotta feel. You know, if a cartoon or a comic book show or a comic book movie or anything like that wants to kill a character, you have to cut off his head on camera. Otherwise,
so true.
He ain't dead. He's around somewhere. We'll probably see Shrapnel again. Okay, guys, we are going to now turn it over to you to take over the rest of the show here. You can tweet questions to Ann Campia. She's got her Twitter open, and she'll be taking your questions or comments that you'd like brought up on the show, or maybe you got an interesting point you want to make. So let's do it. We're just all Arrow fans here. Let's talk some Arrow. So Ann, you got your Twitter open. Has anybody sent anything in?
Yes. Bear with me because there are a ton. Question from Susanna Luna asked, do you guys think that we will see Slade's son, Joe?
I got a feeling no.
They haven't made mention of him yet, but
No.
they haven't said whether he has kids or not.
Yeah,
so.
I get the feeling that part of Slade's hate on is that he's never had a life.
Yeah.
I think that's just it, especially since the island. I think he's never had a life, and I don't think he had much of one beforehand. So
that's a good point.
Because they're making his character in such a way that it feels like all he has in his life is revenge. That's all he's got, nothing else. And so I have a feeling they won't, but never say never. Never say never.
All right. Next question is from Mike Messina, who asked, do you think they hinted during tonight's episode that Deathstroke is going to come after Felicity and capture / possibly kill her? Could be anybody, though. Anyone he loves, right?
I think they've gone out of their way to say there's a very strong possibility Slade could go after any of them. You can make an argument that why he's going to go after Roy. You can make an argument why he'll go after Laurel, after Sarah, after Felicity, after Diggle, after and I think everybody to Deathstroke is fair game right now. And I think any way he thinks he can hurt Oliver, he will. So I absolutely believe. And I feel like that scene today where she came out of the house in her PJs.
Yeah.
I think that was just to remind us that she's still there and she's in danger. It was her only scene. No. It wasn't her only scene in this episode.
No, she had one other.
She was also down in the bunker.
Right.
But I think that was there just to serve as a reminder that they are all in danger as long as Slade's out there.
Yes, I agree. I like seeing her outside of the cave.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of cute.
That was nice.
Okay, so Light and Dark Madness asked, John, do you think they would show Batman and Arrow to promote the show Gotham?
No, never, 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 never. Number one, because they're going to keep those universes completely separate. But the bigger issue is Gotham is going to be a Fox show. CW is not going to promote a Fox show. It's just not going to happen. So they will have two completely different universes. Not to mention, remember, the Gotham show is a different time period as well. When Bruce Wayne is going to be a child or a little kid. I mean, that's the time frame that's happening in. So it is an earlier era than what's going to be happening with Arrow. But even if it wasn't, no, you're never going to see Batman in Arrow under any circumstances. But especially not a Fox television Batman.
I know.
Yeah, that is not going to happen.
There's no way.
No.
All right, so Gregory Mansfield asked, do you think the girl who hired Fires, or is it Friars? I can't remember, on the island to... I don't know what word he's trying to say there, but do you think that the person who hired Friars was Amanda Waller?
I'm going to guess no, because I think that makes her 5 years younger, maybe 2 junior. I mean, some people think it's Summer Glau.
Who we haven't seen since who knows when.
Since Oliver banged her in that foreign country, and then she's gone.
Interesting.
And you know she's still got to be around somewhere.
Oh, yeah, she's around, just like Malcolm.
Yeah, it's possible.
But I don't think so. I always thought, well, now I don't so much, but because I read the Arrow Year One, in that comic, it was China White. So
right.
But in this role that she has on screen, she's not as much of a villain or a big baddie as some of the other people. So I don't know. I don't think it's Amanda though. All right.
Okay.
So the next question. Let's see. Nathan Flores asked, do you think Arrow will work with the Suicide Squad? Because we saw at the end the connection.
Well,
made.
yeah, I mean, Anne pointed this out as we were watching the show. It looks pretty clear that they're going to be working together. I mean, Amel went to Amanda and said, I need your help. He word for word said, I need your help.
Yeah.
It looks like he might be bringing in some help. But remember, Slade said he's got his allies too. Mm-hmm. We still don't know who it was that knocked out Diggle in the bushes.
Which a lot of people suspect is Huntress.
And that's not a bad guess.
No.
I'm not willing to say that I think it was Huntress, but it's a good guess. And it could very well be true. But remember, he did say it very ominously to Oliver. You've got your allies, I've got mine. And I think we're going to be surprised by some of the people who pop up on his ally list. So I think we got some pretty cool stuff ahead.
And then there's always the questionables. Like, where does Malcolm fall? Does he even fall on one of the group's sides? Ra's al Ghul.
Where is Malcolm?
Yeah.
I want Malcolm back.
He's having coffee with Isabel Rochef, apparently, because they're on vacation somewhere together.
Because, look, they did a great job explaining why we weren't going to see him for a while. Hey, we let Ra's al Ghul know you were here. Whoops, gotta go. But, okay. It's time to come back. I want to see how he fits in. I'm convinced that Malcolm fits into the larger puzzle somehow. That he's not just a loose thread storyline running out there about him and Thea. I believe he's a part of the bigger puzzle. And I am ready for him to come back. Because I really like the Dark Archer. And I want him to come back. So, where is he? Bring him back.
John Campea says so.
John Campea says bring back Malcolm right now. Okay.
But isn't it insane how many characters they've introduced just in season 2 that they are having to balance the storyline and the screen time and everything. And there's characters, like you said, we haven't seen since episode 3 or whatever, and they could potentially bring back in the next week's episode.
If anything, one of the mistakes, and this is going to sound weird, it almost feels like one of the mistakes they've made this season is introducing too many characters. Because let's face it, while I am not Roy's biggest fan, we've now had I think he's been on 2 episodes in the last 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. That's not right for what's supposed to be a regular character. We haven't had Summer Glau. you give us a few episodes of her, it's like, okay, she's a player now in this show, and then she's gone for 6 weeks. We haven't seen a lot of the Suicide Squad. We don't get to see. Look, despite the fact that we saw some dude in a mask standing on a rooftop, we haven't seen Manu Bennett. We didn't see Manu Bennett this episode.
No, we didn't see Felicity. We barely saw Moira.
We saw a little bit of Felicity. Yeah, we saw Moira doing a news conference. I mean,
Brother Blood.
One of the problems with bringing in so many characters is that suddenly you bring in more characters, but that doesn't give your show any more minutes of screen time. And I hope they start to manage that better. But here's the thing, though. One of the risks you run about having too many characters is sometimes they start to lose focus of the main character. And one of the things they've done really well is maintain that this show is about Oliver Queen.
Yes.
Despite however many... and I applaud them for that. That's great. I do hope they figure out a way to timeshare a little bit better with all these great characters they're giving us. Because it doesn't help us as fans to get a great character, get us attached to this character, get us interested in the character, and then pull them away from us for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes. That's just my thought.
Oh, and before I forget, last after show, I think I'm the only one who said that I believe the Suicide or Amanda Waller and her team will join up with Arrow and his crew.
I don't think I disagreed with you.
You also didn't say it.
Okay,
I win.
You did. You win. You win.
Thank you. Speaking of additional characters, Zane Ewing asks, do you see Clock King joining Suicide Squad? I forgot. He's still around, too. There's a ton of people.
I mean, let's put it this way. He'd fit, right?
Yeah.
He has, in my best Liam Neeson voice, a particular set of skills. He has a particular set of skills. He could be useful. And really, they portrayed him in the show, in his episode, as not really being an evil man. I mean, his motivation was his sister, right? His motivation is trying to help and save his sister. So he's not an all-evil guy, which could fit in with doing good stuff for Argus or with Argus, whatever. Possible. I wouldn't put my money on it, but it's possible.
I agree. Calvin says that I think they put so many characters in the series to make it feel more like a comic book and less like a mainly character-driven show.
Maybe, yeah. Actually, it's a good observation. It's a good observation.
All right. Sorry, I'm losing sight of where the questions are. There are a lot of them, you guys. All right. Trish asks Isabel. Oh, Trish just says Isabel comes back in the Deathstroke episode.
Say again.
Trish says that Isabel comes back in the Deathstroke episode. Have we seen the Deathstroke titled episode yet? Not yet, right? No, I don't think we have.
I don't think we have. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
All right.
If that's true.
Let's see. Nick of the Galaxy asks, could we see Katana in Arrow? Maybe in Gotham? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not guessing so.
All right. Question. Do you think Roy will become humbled by Slade in a fight and evolve into a better character from the defeat?
I think Roy is going to get his ass kicked by Slade. Different people have different theories about what's going to happen with Roy, whether Slade may corrupt him and turn him against Oliver. Some people think he's just going to really brutally beat him. And I don't know. I think it would be a more interesting turn to have Slade turn Roy against Oliver. I don't know that they've shown us a Roy character that has that kind of depth, though. So I don't know that they'll do that. I have a feeling you're right. I have a feeling you're correct in your assumption that we're just going to see Deathstroke just beat the living crap out of him. What do you think?
I would love it just because, like you said, there hasn't been anyone that has been able to humble Roy at this point. I mean, maybe Oliver a little, but not to the point where he's shaken and he gets it. He gets that right. He needs to maintain or control his ability. So I would like to see it.
Okay, let's take one more question.
Okay. Sean asks, would Slade kill Oliver's mother, and that might cause Malcolm to help Oliver?
I don't know that Malcolm cares much about Moira anymore. When he came, we know that they set it up that he had some affection for her.
Mm-hmm.
But I think by the time he left the show, he wasn't really caring all that much. His one main focus was Thea. If you want to pursue that, we've talked about this on the show before. If Slade kills Thea,
Yeah.
that opens the door to some possibilities as far as Malcolm goes. Deathstroke killing Moira, I don't think bothers Malcolm all that much.
Yeah, I
What
agree.
do you think?
I agree, and I think Ricardo Ortiz asked the question, but I think he's right. It's more of the Black Archer would come back to protect Thea over Moira. I could totally see that.
All right, folks. Well, listen, we've gone over a half hour already. We're at the 37-minute mark. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and talking some Arrow with us. We're so glad that you did. Spread the word around. If you've got other friends who like Arrow, point them towards and have them come on in and join the conversation with us. We will be back again next week to talk about more of our favorite Archer on television, Arrow. I want to thank, of course, Anne. Anne, thanks again. Where can people find you since they've already been tweeting you all the questions?
You can find me at Ann Campia. Keep tweeting the questions. Maybe we'll get to them next week. Sorry, I couldn't get to all of them.
And of our missing partner in crime, Kaori, you can find her at Kaorious, Kaorious. See what she did there with her name?
I know.
And you can find me on Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Just you see it right there at John Campia. So thanks a lot for joining us this week, guys. I had a lot of fun. I loved this episode. And I know you guys did too. So thanks a lot for being here. Turn more people onto this show. It deserves more ratings than it gets. We're talking about Arrow. We're not talking about the Arrow After Show. Turn more people onto Arrow. Become Arrow evangelists and get people turned on the show because it really deserves it. Thanks a lot for joining us. My name is John Campia. Until next time, bye-bye.